This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are here at Clash of Clans and delighted to be joined. Finally, Conor Quinn has just become obviously Commonwealth Silver and British Boxing Board Celtic Champion. Firstly, I want to ask, how does it feel that you now have some belts?
Yeah, it feels good, mate. It feels good. You know, like I said, I've been getting a bit of stick in the gym. One of the only guys without a belt, and I've just went and picked two up in the one night. So I think I've took over a few people anyway, haven't I?
that feeling, I guess, obviously, we're going to touch on the fight in a minute or two, but obviously that feeling of having a belt. Do you probably now feel like you are a pro? Obviously, when you fought in the amateurs and obviously winning, obviously accolades and everything there, that's when you feel you've an accomplishment. You've got a couple of belts round your waist, round your shoulder, whatever way you want to carry them about the street now, but do you now feel like you're a pro now? You have your first belts on, in your locker now, we can sort of go, now I'm hungry for the next one.
Yeah, definitely. You've got the belts now, you've got something, and even just them sort of fights now, that level of fight, it makes you feel like a pro as well. Where you're fighting people that genuinely are coming thinking they're going to win the fight, and I'm obviously going in thinking I'm going to win the fight, and there can only be one winner. So that's sort of what I wanted, from the day on our turn professional. It's fights like this and headlining shows like this and being on TV and putting on them sort of performances, but obviously you have to get an opponent in the ring with you to do that, and it's not as easy as everyone thinks, just to go and fight for this and that, and obviously a lot of politics, a lot of money involved too. So thankfully Mark was able to put on a great show and get a great opponent and get 2 titles on the line, and they're staying in Belfast.
Obviously, on Chris Liddell, obviously a very, very tough man. I guess when you think of any Scottish fighters down the years, they're all tough. They all just are very, very durable. Were you probably in the fight? Obviously, and I know that you have a lot of power and everything else, but when you were obviously hitting him uppercuts, hooks, body and everything else, nothing was happening. Were you sort of going, when you go back to the corner going, Dave, we got a sledgehammer? Or, was it getting to that stage? Were you starting to fear yourself of going, like, I don't know how many punches you landed. Like, you had a very high punch output tonight, but you're obviously very accurate as well. Were you sort of starting to think in the fight, maybe getting to round 5, you're going, what do I need to do to put this guy away?
To be honest, no, because like I said, I've done plenty around sparring and I've had plenty of fights, and I know that they're going to go at some point. Like look at that guy Chris there, very, very tough, very, very, very durable, but you can't take 10 rounds of punishment like that, you know what I mean? And any sort of confidence he was getting when he was landing 1 or 2 half shots himself, I was coming back with 3 and 4, and like he says, very, very accurate. I don't think I missed many punches, which meant then that, if I was throwing to say 70, 80 punches around and 60, 70s landing, I knew I had 2 and 3 more gears to go through. Like, to me, that was only the halfway point of the fight. That only, what round was it, round 7?
Round 7,
so
yeah.
Just over halfway. And I had another 2 or 3 gears to go into, and I think he probably did too, but he just walked on the one too many then, and the fight was over. But that's, like, listen, I'm a flyweight, I'm very, very strong flyweight, and very tough myself, you know what I mean? And like I says on another interview there, I've had 150 amateur fights, I only lost 20. Like, I can go out and box the ears of most of these guys, but I can also go out and really hurt them and put a bit of damage on them. And you're headlining a great show here, obviously. Owen O'Neill and Declan Garrity's fight has fell through, so there's a wee bit of a dampener on the show, and I wanted to go out and put on a good performance. I didn't want to go out and win 190 on scorecards by not getting hit and landing 2 or 3 shots around. I wanted to go out and take someone out, and that's exactly what I did.
We obviously had sad news yesterday, and obviously I know it's someone you idolised, obviously growing up and watched him on TV. We obviously lost Hugh Russell. It's obviously a good memory for him. Obviously, we just lost him yesterday, and hopefully it doesn't offend anybody by saying that, but obviously be looking down, sort of proud that there's now another flyweight to take over, and probably, you'd probably be the first to say if you can achieve probably what Hugh Russell did, obviously as an amateur, obviously Commonwealth and Olympics, but he obviously held the British title outright. Obviously, I think it's the last British fight ever to go 15 rounds. Like, it's incredible to think that as well. But obviously, you've impressed somebody up there, and obviously Hugh Russell, obviously, and everybody was there tonight. Like, I was speechless. I thought you were an animal, an absolute beast.
Yeah, listen, obviously it was very, very sad news of Hugh Russell passing. I only found out the morning of the weigh-in, and it's strange, like people don't really understand, obviously, from the outside, like yourself and everyone else does, but people from outside boxing don't understand how big of a role he played in professional boxing up until obviously his final days, do you know what I mean? And even a couple of days ago he was talking to me and Owen about check weigh-ins and stuff like that, and you know, even just coming here tonight and not seeing his face, it's very, very strange. And John Gray actually gave me a few words there just before we went out to the ring, and just says, like, you know, do Q proud and all, and maybe looking down and stuff like that. And it makes you think, do you know what I mean? You're sort of saying, like, you know, obviously there's more to life than boxing, but the boxing community is a massive community in Ireland, and obviously the rest of the UK as well. And you know, everyone holds them in such high regards, and the likes of myself and all these other fighters on these shows tonight, if in a couple of years' time people are speaking about you the way they're speaking about you, you'd be very proud of yourself, wouldn't you?
You definitely would. Obviously, we always have a laugh and a joke. Obviously, Jessica's sitting there and she says you definitely have to buy the Chinese on the way home tonight. You've obviously headlined the show. You've obviously Commonwealth silver, you British Boxing Board Celtic champion. You're bound to have a few pound to get out tonight, so you have to buy the Chinese.
Listen, it depends. I don't know. I've bought some dear Chinese. It's like, I don't know if there's much left in my pocket now after tonight. But listen, hopefully maybe I'll go into the Chinese and bump into someone I know that was at the fights. Maybe they'll buy it then, because Jessica definitely won't.
If you obviously put something online saying, here, I'm in the Chinese, I forgot my wallet, see if anybody's close by. But obviously for you now, is it obviously, as we normally say, you're obviously gym rat, obviously fight week finishes. Another thing I want to pick on, I think you have another holiday plan. Is this? So you've had 9 fights as a pro.
Yes.
Have you had 9 holidays after every fight? Is this your sort of new ritual now? You obviously don't drink or anything like that. Obviously, a bit of a Chinese and on a holiday, that's your thing. But where are you off on holidays to this time?
We're away to Rhodes in Greece. Yes, after every single fight, I've had a holiday. Apart from the last fight in Gertwood, because I was fighting in the SSE a month later, so we went to the Merchant Hotel for a few nights on Jessica. But listen, you have to get some sort of relaxation, don't you? Because I do this full time. I've got great sponsors, and Bobby and Fastgaff in Australia, he's still my main sponsor, my major sponsor, and obviously I've got all the rest of the lads, and Sean's Mini Market and BCM and Bert's and stuff, and a great team there. But that allows me to train full time, which means full time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know obviously there's people doing a harder day's work and maybe having to go to the gym straight after, but all I do, mate, is wake up, go to the gym, get a bit of food, go back to the gym, pick Jessica up from work, she's away working all day, and then go to bed and wake up and do the same thing the next day. And I love it, I absolutely love it, but sometimes you do need a week of just staying away from it and getting away from everyone, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's the highest highs after a boxing fight, isn't it? And you're up in the air and everything's buzzing, and sometimes you just need a wee weekend to reset, go straight back to the gym then and get back to work.
This is obviously our last interview of the year. We've obviously done so many. You've been fighting so regularly. Obviously, what's next for you now? Obviously Mark said that you're obviously ready for British title. Obviously Jay Harris is obviously fighting Conor Butler, I think, is it? Obviously, I think they've been scheduled in the mandatory list there for the British Boxing Board for the European belt. So what would you like to do next? Obviously, now when you've headlined the show here in the Gertwood, you want to do it again. And I know Mark mixes everything up, but if I was probably to give you a $5 now, because we know you work with money, so if I give you a $5 now and said, tell me what's next, what would you want be next for you?
Oh, Jesus, I just want the biggest fights possible. Like Jay Harris, Conor Butler, 2 great fighters. It's going to be a great fight, and obviously down the schedule and stuff, you don't know when that fight will be, but I'm sure Mark will have me out again pretty soon anyway, and it's definitely the start of the new year. And listen, like I explained to everyone, it's not as easy as just getting these big fights, but you can get fights in between, and then when the opportunity comes for the big fights, you jump at them, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, I've only been back boxing a year now, after being told I'd never box again for 2 years, going through all the hassle I went through to get my licence. Everyone, my friends, family, Jessica, sponsors, team, Mark, everyone going through it with me. And now here you are, 12 months later, you've won the Commonwealth silver title and the Celtic title, headlined your own show, and took out a real good fighter to do it. And I think in a year's progression, that's you definitely couldn't have asked for any more. And I just look forward to the next year now as well. Mark.
Do you remember, obviously, in the Europa Hotel, obviously last year, I obviously said we'd quickly forget what obviously happened on that night. Yeah. And I probably said it probably maybe the best thing that might ever happen to you. Obviously something like that happening. Yeah. You've obviously, even had the experience, obviously, the SSE in fight week where I was supposed to be for a title and it sort of dropped. I think because you hadn't fought a 10-rounder, I think you were about 11 or 12 maybe in the European rankings, you're probably going to get a big rise in the ranks there as well. So pretty much technically you can maybe fight for the British and European, on the same sort of night, depending on obviously the outcome of Harris and Butler. But is that the next goal for you now, the British and European? If you can get them in the one fight, even better?
Oh, definitely, 100%. I think the European rankings came out today and it was 4 or 5 of flyweight, you know what I mean? And like I said, that's my first time actually doing the championship limit of flyweight, and easily, I came in a pound underweight, didn't have any sort of weight cut, of a great nutritionist and Pierce Tohill, P25 nutrition, and like I say, that was a halfway point of the fight for me. I had plenty more gears to go through, and all these sort of things just give you the confidence now you are ready, now it is time to go for the 12-round fights and step up and do this and that. And listen, like I said, when I came back from Australia, I was talking to everyone, I said I'm not going to do it like everyone else, and I'm not here to wait about for 4 or 5 years before you get into the big fights. Give me 1 to 2 years of these big fights and just keep rolling with it. And I believe that when I'm in that ring with anyone, I can win a fight, and that's all it is at the end of the day, is a fight. Sometimes people overcomplicate it in boxing, and you're looking at this guy, look how good he is, or look, it's a fight. He's going to punch you and you're going to punch him. The better man's going to win. So listen, just roll the dice and let's see where it takes it. I've got great ambitions. I want to be world champion in multiple different weight classes, and I think I'm on the right path to do so.
Also want to give a special mention obviously to your new friend and Sonny Edwards. Obviously you've been out now and sparred with him a few times. He's obviously in action now in a unified world title fight obviously in December. Did that sort of spar, and I know when we've spoken about it and you sort of said you've seen what they do, but obviously I'm sure that's now we're allowed to sit and get fat now for the rest of this year. That'll be your thoughts now on watching that fight, and probably learning and studying some other wee bits, so maybe when you get back into camp with him next year again, he's unified champion rather than just having one belt. So is that, you want to get back and get more sparring with Sonny because he's helping to bring you on?
Definitely. Like, you can't get any better than that, mate. Like I says, I'd seen that much interview with Chris, but I'd seen a little bit of a clip he'd put up saying that I was overlooking him. When I wrote back to you, it's like, I don't overlook anybody. I wouldn't overlook anyone because I know the dangers of getting in the boxing ring. But especially for this fight, like, spent a couple of weeks out in Tenerife,
living at large,
but all covered by myself. Got a week's notice, dropped everything, flew over. No coach, no team there, and just on my own to just learn, to improve, to get better. And like I said, when he said about overlooking him, I laughed because I couldn't take it any more serious, to be honest. And like Sonny Edwards, obviously, in my opinion, he's the best flyweight in the world, and no disrespect to Chris, but I was out there sparring with him, and then you're in the ring here, and even coming back and sparring other lads in Belfast and all, unbelievable fighters, and then you're getting in the ring there with a great fighter, but it's just like you can see everything that bit faster, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but it's like when you're at that top level competing with them guys, and then you get into these fights, you are one step ahead, you know what I mean? And Sonny Edwards, like I said, he's a great fighter, and I believe he'll win against Juan Rodriguez on December 16th. And I think when he does so, people will have to give him the credit then that he is the best flyweight in the world.
Well, listen, we'll let you go and obviously start your celebrations properly now. Hopefully I've put that bit of pressure on you now that Jessica can keep her money in her purse, but obviously enjoy your Chinese. I know you always do enjoy your holiday, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you very soon.
Thanks very much, Morty. Thank you, mate.